Well, the Christmas decorations are up and it's 20 degrees out. What do I think about? Next year's garden. Welcome back to the farm. If you're new to the channel, I'm Brenda and my husband Don's behind the camera. And we have a 42-acre farm and we have a huge market garden. And at this point, it's 20 degrees outside, almost Christmas. Everything's put to bed in the garden. There's compost over it. I put a leaf grass mulch over top of that. It's all ready to sleep for the winter. But that gets me thinking, I need to plan for next spring. And that's what today is. I'm trying to think about last year's garden, things I need to improve to make it not quite as much work, maybe make it easier on myself, and what I want to plant and what I don't want to plant. So I actually made a map of our garden, the different rows. We have, I don't know, let's see, almost 20 40-foot rows, and then like 15 75-foot rows. And some of those are in berries. And that's one of the first things I started thinking about. We have red raspberries, black raspberries, and blackberries, as well as elderberries. Now, we haven't had much luck with blueberries. That's been a hard thing for me. But we have gotten into honeyberries, which are supposed to taste like blueberries, but they're bigger and elongated. And we had a few last year, and they were pretty darn good. So we actually put more in this fall. Hopefully they all survive, and we'll have a lot more honeyberries next year. But I'm going to need some advice from you guys, because I'm thinking about a few new things, but I've never done them. Yellow raspberries. Has anybody ever tried them? Are they worth it? Are they good? They just look intriguing to me. I think they'd be neat. And another thing I'm looking at is boysenberry. I guess it's a cross between a red raspberry and a blackberry. We actually took out some of our red raspberry plants because we had way too many red raspberries. So I have a blank spot that I could put some other things, boysenberries or the yellow raspberries. But those are two things, boysenberries and yellow raspberries. I need opinions on those, if you think it's worth putting them in or not. So looking at the big picture of our garden, as far as the market garden area, there's certain things that will never move. The asparagus bed will be there forever, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And the brambleberries,
Is
the
it
raspberries.
bigger and bigger or stronger?
Well, both. Stronger, and they're kind of spreading out. Plus, some of them have gone to seeds, and I have asparagus popping up in weird places that I move to the asparagus bed. So
Okay.
it gets bigger.
That's strange. We have trees. Where they come up, I don't know. Birds must carry them somewhere.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a tree in our backyard, a pawpaw that we planted. There's an asparagus plant sticking up there. There's an asparagus by my butterfly hut.
Yeah.
They are coming up literally everywhere. But that's okay. We love asparagus, and I sell it very fast at the farm market. That's at the farm stand. I sell a lot of asparagus. So that's the whole thing in the market garden. The majority of what we grow does get sold at the farm stand, but we grow enough so that we have for our families too. And that's for our extended family, so it's a lot of food. But I'm trying to debate, what do I want to make more permanent and make easier?
So the base of your market garden and tunnel, the most of what you sell are tomatoes, right?
Yeah, the high tunnel, that pretty much is always going to stay the same. Tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and some flowers.
Okay.
That's always going to end
High
the tomatoes.
value items.
Yes, and I like them in the tunnel. They grow better in the tunnel. I can control the moisture, and I have the strings that go to the top of the tunnel that I can string them up and take very good care of them that way.
Okay.
So the tunnel doesn't change much, but the market garden, it's going to be going through some changes.
Okay.
The one thing I did start doing in the fall is moving some strawberries. I mean, strawberries are really good where they're at for like 3 years, and then they start getting so thick and older that they don't produce as well. So I did take a lot of the baby strawberries and move them to new rows. So I actually have 4 new rows of strawberries that should produce this spring. They were actually already plants. So, but I do have 1 row of the old ones that I didn't tackle, and it's very thick and matted. So early spring, I'm going to have to go out there and pull some out. And
So
move
those
them.
thick rows that I recall, they produce a lot of strawberries, but they're small.
Small.
Yeah.
It's much nicer to have and to pick fewer, bigger berries.
Yeah.
Those little berries, strawberries are hard to pick.
Yeah.
Especially at our age, because you're down on your hands and knees picking them. But they're so good. They're so good, and they sell like crazy. So
Yeah.
we will always have strawberries. That's something I'll grow no matter what. So that's something that we already made some changes, and I know what's going to happen there. Herbs. I have a whole big herb garden that I've been building over the last couple of years. And some we have down pretty good. We have 3 nice raised boxes that we have some herbs in, and then I have bags that I keep things in that can spread easily, like oregano, mint, lemon balm. There's certain things that I know can spread, and I keep them in the bags. I do need to move some of those bags around. I had them too close together and I couldn't get into them. So that's going to be kind of spreading out a little bit. And there's some I need to move. I have hibiscus, valerian, and marshmallow. And they're all real close together. And they are all very tall, big plants. So I'm going to be moving them in the spring. That's not going to be an easy job.
Boy, there's a lot of things to think about, isn't there?
Thus the map and all the notes, because I can't keep it all up here.
Yeah.
And looking at it helps me plan it, helps me think about it. So I need to figure out what all's changing, what all's going to be the same, and then where are things going to go.
So from a market demand and perspective, were there things that you wanted more of to sell, or some things that you had that didn't sell?
Well, salad greens are something I could sell a boatload of.
Yeah.
But when it gets up to the 90s and 100s, it's very hard to grow salad greens. They just bolt or they get bitter. They're hard to grow when it's really hot in the summer. I have them in the spring and in the fall, but that's something I could sell them year round. So I need to figure out a way to keep them cooler so I could keep them growing. So that's something I could sell a ton of. Things that didn't sell. I don't know. I think everything sold. Oh, sugar peas. I didn't sell that many sugar peas last year. So I'm only going to grow some of those this year, mainly just enough for our grandkids to pick and eat, because they didn't really sell at the farm stand. And one thing we didn't get enough of last year was shelling peas. If you've never tasted fresh peas, oh, they are so good. They're a pain to pick, to shell, and all that, but they're so good. So I need to get more peas this year. That's a priority.
You know, one thing that surprised me was the people were asking for zucchini. Now you think, you know, your home gardens, when they come in, people are, you just can't get rid of them almost.
Yeah,
but
you're giving away tons of zucchini.
But you can't really buy zucchini, it seems like, in any of the stores or the markets. So people who don't grow theirs want zucchini.
So I sell a ton of the regular green zucchini, the yellow squash zucchini, and I also sell round zucchini. If you've never seen them, they're also called 8-ball zucchini. You pick them when they're fairly young, but you can cut the top off, hollow them out, fill them with stuff, and they're so pretty when you present them. It's this nice little zucchini with all kinds of good stuff in it. I mean, I actually put some recipes out at the farm stand and people got hooked on them. So I will be growing lots of round zucchinis.
With the British, what do they call them, like croquettes or something?
Courgette, something like that. I'll have to look that up, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for us, they're squash.
That's how we had our UPS guy one time saw our garden stand, like, oh, let me go look. And he had a British background, and he saw those. He was delighted.
Yeah, he was really excited about the round ones, and that's when I was just trying to get people used to having round zucchinis. It was a new item, but the people that tried it and experimented with it, there are some amazing recipes.
Yeah.
And we love them. Even Mr. Not a big fan of zucchini, loved the round zucchinis with stuff in them. So they're a definite on my list. But now it's just like a plan of where am I planting the zucchini, and then I plant them all through the summer. And I try to plant them different spots of the garden, so if the squash bugs find them, they might not find this patch or this patch. Squash bugs are miserable, and the squash vine borers.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
So you've got a couple raised beds. They seem like they work well. Are you going to need any more raised beds this year?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I think we have a set where I have 3 raised beds in a row with bags between them. And I think I want the next row exactly the same. 3 more raised beds with some bags between them. And raised beds are wonderful for carrots. I have a hard time with carrots. I mean, we've been working on our garden soil for 5 years now, and it's getting much better, but carrots still end up hitting something and getting really weird shape. And so if I had some raised beds with that much soil, I could grow some really beautiful carrots. So yeah, I definitely want to do some carrots in raised beds, and some of the herbs are going to be in raised
So
beds.
I guess that's on my to-do list.
That's on your to-do list this spring.
Okay.
And luckily we have lots of beautiful compost and things to fill them up with. So yeah, I'm going to probably need your help with a few things. The raised beds and moving those big perennials, because they're going to have some pretty big roots. We'll see how that goes. But I did go through all my seeds and looked at what I have left from last year and what I needed. And I did go on and buy all the vegetable seeds I needed. I buy different between My Gardener. He's great. His prices are wonderful, but he doesn't always have the varieties I want. Johnny's Seeds, and then True Leaf Market for a few things. So I think I have most of the vegetable seeds, and then I started thinking about flowers. I sell a lot of flowers at the farm stand. And I have my tried and true that always go well. Zinnias, snapdragons, status. I always have these big buckets of flowers ready to go. But I want to try some new things. So that's another thing I need your advice on. What are some flowers you've grown for cut flowers that are wonderful to grow, fairly easy to grow, and that have a good vase life? I'm just looking for some new and interesting cut flowers. I know I want to do some dahlias. I did dahlias the first year from seed, but they were the little dahlias, and I'd like some bigger ones. So I'm going to try some of those. I also want to try, what else did I have down here? Sweet peas. I've never used sweet peas as a cut flower, but I saw a couple people mention that on different websites, and I think I'm going to try that. And sunflowers. Last year we had sunflowers all through the garden, mainly just because birds planted them and they came up in odd places. So I want to actually, on purpose, have a row of sunflowers this year, maybe a couple, for a couple reasons. I use some of them for cut flowers, but I also let them just be beautiful and then go to seed. And as soon as they go to seed, guess where they go? Right into my chickens. They love sunflower seeds. I take the whole head, lay it in there, and they just, like rapid fire machine gun, eat every little seed out of there. So sunflowers are a big thing on my list this year, and they are just so beautiful. You look out in the garden and you just see big sunflowers. Something about them are just gorgeous. But that's another thing I need to plant throughout the summer, so there's always some blooming. That's something I need to get better at this year, is succession planting. And I did better this past year, but not good enough. So I need to make notes and probably put reminders on my phones when I need to plant certain things again. Planning ahead like this is good for a lot of reasons, but one reason is so I don't forget to leave room for things. Things like potatoes and sweet potatoes that go in later. You know, if I just start planting and not thinking about it, I'll have the whole garden full, and then I'll get my potatoes and think, uh-oh. So I have to make sure I leave a row for potatoes, or I leave a part of a row for sweet potatoes, and just be ready for when they come in. So that's some part of planning. Plus, it's just fun to plan.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So I noticed you have all this paper and stuff scribbled around. A couple years ago, you used a software program for this. So
I did. I had a garden planner.
Are you sliding backwards here?
Yeah, somehow it helps me if I can take this out to the garden, look around. I'm old school. I'm old school. I like having it down on paper and pencil, and it just helps me to picture it. I can just see what's planted there, the strawberries, the garlic, which garlic is out there already, by the way. I did plant garlic. So garlic and strawberries are the one thing that are already taken care of. But I don't know why, paper's just...
Well, your grandchildren use tablets a lot. They probably will try to convince you that you need a tablet.
I'm sure they would, yeah. I don't know. I just always have a notebook, and I keep notes from every year gone by, what worked, what didn't. Oh, speaking of that, there are two things I will not be growing. One I already got rid of this past year, and that was watermelon. The year before, it was just so out of control. The weeds got big, and we really didn't get good watermelons. They were either too ripe, not ripe enough. I followed all the directions and picked them when they said to pick them, but they were not that good. And this past year, I was determined to get cantaloupe, and we got cantaloupe. They almost looked like they were going to die in the beginning of the year. They came back, and we had tons of cantaloupe, but they weren't good. I mean, they were okay, but they weren't like to die for. And for me, if I can't grow something that's wonderfully delicious, especially something that takes that much room and that much work, I'm giving up on cantaloupe. We'll probably be going to, and I didn't sell many because they weren't very good. So we'll probably go to the next door farmer market to get cantaloupe.
You'll probably get some advice on certain types of cantaloupe here.
If you can tell me a cantaloupe that tastes really good and is worth growing, maybe I'll try it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I grew, I think, 3 different kinds, and none of them were good. We were all excited. It's perfect looking cantaloupe. We'd bring it in, cut it open, and just, nah, not worth it. So, but if you can tell me a different one that's worth it, maybe I'll try it. Tomatoes. Thinking about tomatoes. I know there's some I want to grow. Cherokee purple, Amish paste, and Roma for sauce. But as far as slicing tomatoes, I've tried a whole bunch. And I mean, some are good, but I haven't really landed on one that I love that grows really well. If you have tomatoes, we're zone 7A, that grow well in 7A, wonderful slicing tomatoes, not too big. It seems like the people that shop at the farm stand don't want huge tomatoes, just nice size. And red. I have a hard time getting people to buy anything that's not red as far as a tomato. The Cherokee purple, which if you've ever tasted a Cherokee purple tomato, they're delicious. But people didn't want to try them because they don't look real attractive. But as soon as people tried it, they fell in love with it.
Well, they're a rich purple, but they have a green shoulder.
Yeah, the shoulder always stays green.
And the shoulders are cracked sometimes.
Yeah, but they are one of the best tomatoes ever. They aren't pretty, but I have gotten people to start eating Cherokee purple, so maybe I can get some other things out there and try it. But I need good, just round, delicious, red slicing tomatoes.
Mid-size.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that size.
Yep.
And cherry tomatoes. Which ones are the best of that? I think I got super sweet was the one I liked the best last year, but if you have a cherry tomato you like, that's not an odd color, because I did try a bumblebee one year, and I think I tried it like a purple one. Mm-hmm. They didn't sell. I thought it would look pretty with a box with all the different colors in a box. Nah, they wanted the red. So, red cherry tomatoes. And cucumbers. I know I like Marketmore cucumbers, but are there other slicing cucumbers I should be trying that would sell well at the farm stand? You're a cucumber guy. Donnie loves cucumbers. So we do grow quite a few cucumbers.
I could just eat a salad of just cucumbers.
Yeah, you do almost every meal in the summer. You'll have a cucumber cut up. Yeah. And I like them, but not that much. Tomatoes, I could have every meal. That I definitely could.
You know what, I noticed something about you right now.
What do you notice?
Well, I know at the end of the season last year you were tired. And you were ready for the season to be over.
Yeah.
So now you've had a break for 2 months.
Gardening.
Now I can hear the enthusiasm.
Now it's like, I can't wait to play in the dirt.
Yeah.
And it's December. I'm going to have a while to wait.
You're looking through your catalogs that come in the mail. So I think you're all better now.
I think I'm all better. You need, after gardening a whole season, by August, September, it's like, okay, I'm tired. But yeah, I'm definitely ready for next year. So
another question, to end this video, can we do a quick walk around in the freezing cold? You can see the beds all covered up.
It is freezing cold out there.
Because everybody always shows their flower beds and their vegetables in the beauty of summer, but the reality is
in the dead of winter,
they all look the same in the dead of winter.
So you want to see my dead winter garden? So here we are in my sleeping winter garden. And this is the asparagus we talked about. And this is how I get asparagus everywhere. Some people dig out all female plants. I don't. I usually try to cut off the seeds so I don't have them everywhere. But I see I missed a whole bunch. So we might get more asparagus growing around the garden.
So the females are the ones that have the berries?
They say the males produce better. I haven't seen a difference. I get asparagus even from both of them.
Okay.
So I do take the seeds off mainly to keep them from going places. Plus also I think it does probably put more energy into the plant if it's not producing seeds. But yeah, I didn't get them all this year.
Hey, I noticed something.
What'd you notice?
What's the funny thing on your hat?
This is my magic hat. That's a light. The grandkids laugh because if I go out at night, it is enough to help me show around. So I called it my magic hat. Well, now all the grandkids have magic hats, all different colors. So, yeah, my granddaughter just stopped over today for some honey, and she said, look, I'm wearing my magic hat. Hers is pink. But they're handy, and I like them. So, see, these are some of the trellises that are going to be here. They're pretty much semi-permanent. We could get them out, but it wouldn't be easy. So there will always be something vining growing on there. This is the real thick matted strawberry row. That's going to be a big project this spring.
Looks like the wind was blowing. Some of our tarps are...
They're all over the place. we've had some serious wind lately, so they did go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of the beds are like this. There's a big layer of compost and then leaves and grass over the top. So it's not good to have beds open during the winter, and some people use cover crops. I do just as well doing a big layer of compost and then a big layer of mulch. And then come spring, it's ready to plant. I just pull the mulch aside and then ready to plant into it. Okay. So if I had a cover crop, I would have to terminate the cover crop.
Yeah.
Which presents a problem. You either have to put it with a tarp or do something. So that works really well for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's another set of trellises. Hopefully they're going to be full of peas this year. Lots and lots of shelling peas.
All right, and this is your whole brambleberry.
Yeah, over there's the semi-permanent, blackberries, black raspberries, whole row of elderberries, and where the orange sticks are, that's where there's little baby honeyberries that hopefully next year will be big.
Okay.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, I did do josta berries. That's a berry that we planted in the chicken coop. It's a cross between a currant and a gooseberry. It's called a josta berry. And like I said, I planted it in the chicken coop so the chickens would have berries to eat. We tasted them. They're amazing.
Yeah.
So I got some starts and started some for in here. So I'm going to have some josta berries on this side.
Okay. Well, for the most part, though, most of your berries, and fruits are over here.
But I didn't have any room when I put the josta berries in, so I had to put them over there.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of thinking which row is going to be filled with what was there last year, where were the potatoes, where were the sweet potatoes. And see, those rows right there with the straw, that's the new rows of strawberries, which some of the straw blew off.
Yeah.
I think I need more straw. Yeah, I need to protect them a little more. But it's coming along. I'm definitely better and ready to garden. Oh, look, right there's the asparagus.
Oh, yeah.
They are, and you can't, once they're in there, they get really deep roots. They're hard to dig up if you don't get them right away.
Yeah.
So he's always going to be there. But that's okay. I'll just pick asparagus all over the place.
So you can tell it's a he because he doesn't have any berries.
Yeah, either that or I cut him off.
Okay.
I did try to cut most of them off, but I think he's probably a he.
Okay.
But yeah, just being out here gets me excited and looking forward to spring.
I can tell you're pumped up.
And I was not pumped up in August and September.
No.
I was tired.
Yep.
But at this point, it's just all potential.
Yeah. So
I know
what
what all
do
food
you
we
got
can get
over
out of here. 2 more rows of strawberries and also garlic. I have garlic on one side of the bed and strawberries on the other side.
Right
We'll see
there.
how that does. That'll be an interesting combination. Yeah, and more trellis, which we could take that down easier than the other ones. But I use it for something climbing. And these were all strawberry rows, which I'm trying to actually, most of them I'm getting rid of. And there'll be something else in there this year.
All right.
Because either they were overrun with weeds and I couldn't catch up with the weeds, so I took the strawberries and moved them somewhere else, or they just weren't producing, so I'm just going to put something else in here. And here's the herbs. This will be where the new raised beds will be.
Okay.
Although, maybe we could do it here. I don't know. One of these 2 rows is going to be raised beds, just like this. Raised beds with bags between
So these are just, even though it's been so cold, they're just now kind of wilting, dying
Yeah,
away.
that's my cilantro and dill. And I wanted to pick that cilantro, but I missed it. I could
Yeah.
probably still get some out of there that's not quite so hit, but I missed that.
Okay.
But the sage and the rosemary, they do great over winter. But the big hibiscus and all that stuff are all down there. They're the ones that need moved.
Okay.
So I could actually pick some of this. Oh, that smells so good. Oh gosh. See, not everything in the garden's dead.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it is sound asleep. Well, it might only be 20 degrees out and the garden's mostly sleeping, but I'm excited. I'm already looking forward to spring. So just planning it gets me fired up, you know? I'm ready to dig in the dirt. Now I just have to be patient for a few months. But thanks for joining me as I plan my 2025 garden, and maybe I got you excited too. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.